special edition of Borndead to Live Again. Join host Dallas Haynes as we study the Word of God and learn how you can live again. And now, here's your host, Dallas Ezra Haynes.
Well, good evening. Are we having fun during this wonderful season of rain and cool air? I want to kind of go back in time a little bit. Back in 1986, we were living, my wife and I, my son, we were living in Mobile, Alabama. We had been transferred down there by international paper. And I tell you the truth, Mobile, Alabama is a pretty good sized city compared to Oak Grove, Louisiana. So we're living in Mobile and it's 1986. We're going to Cottage Hill Baptist Church on Friday. I'm going there on Friday nights. And what it is that Cottage Hill Baptist Church is a pretty good sized church. And it's very, Fred Wolf was a pastor there and they were doing a powerful job. And it was just growing and growing. And we had joined that church, and I was really enjoying, the fact that we were there. And its active members was about 5,000 people. If you go back and look at 1986, 5,000 people is a lot of people, to be in a church at that time. Now, they had a very unusual ministries too. And on each Friday evening, each Friday evening too, about 20 to 25 of the dedicated church members would get together and have prayer for about 2 hours. And what was so interesting about this is we would start the prayer at around 10 p.m. and this is on Friday. And Friday, I'm telling you the truth, that is challenging because you got the whole weekend ahead of you and you're starting this weekend off with this prayer meeting. So here at 10 p.m., on Friday evening, we start this prayer meeting, 10 p.m. And I'm telling you, you spend 2 hours there. And so you get your weekend started with prayer meeting, and about 1 a.m. in the morning, you get to come home, from your prayer meeting. And I'm telling you the truth, you have already spent 2 hours, and now you got to get things put together, and you're 1 a.m., and you're ready to head to the house and get some sleep, because you sure are going to need some sleep for sure. This was one of the greater ministries that I was involved in at the time. And like I said, I left Cottage Hill prayer meeting at about, like I said, about 1 a.m., and I'm telling you, you're ready to get home and get some sleep. So that church, which was a very large church, like I said, about 5,000 or more people, and they had a pretty good group turnout for prayer meetings like that right there, which totally surprised me, because very few churches today that have that kind of prayer meeting at that kind of hour with some of their top players wanting to get involved into it. And I had just left the church and was headed out to the interstate. And they had out at the end of the church where we had an interstate, you had Flournoy Lucas, which was about like a I-10 here, and then you had Government going this way. And you had a light. You didn't have where you fly up in there and get away from everybody. You had a light. So you sat there and you waited on the light. And I'll never forget, we left there and I got there at the intersection with Government, and, I was on Flournoy Lucas, and the light, just turned green. So I got a green light in front of me. So I start across Government Boulevard, which is about like an I-10. And when I did, one of the strangest things that I've ever seen in my life, I've got the green light. I've got the right of way. So I start out across, Flournoy Lucas, and all of a sudden I look up this hill, coming down this hill is a lady, of course you couldn't even tell who was driving at that time, it was a lady, driving a Grand Prix. And I tell you, the late 70s, early 80 model Grand Prix was one of the biggest cars ever built. And I mean, to tell you the truth, anyway, boy, I get ahead of myself. There's no telling what that car weighed and how much force it would give you if it hit you. So I'm going across the interstate, to get to my lane over here. And this woman who's driving this thing, what I didn't know is that she's running from the law. Matter of fact, the police were right in behind her, kind of a deal. And so I had the right of way, had the green light, so I started moving across. I couldn't see anything any more than that. And I mean, she hit me broadside. And she was doing, like I said, at least 100 miles an hour. According to the law, that was tracking her, trying to catch her, that she was doing 100 miles an hour. I had the green light, but let me tell you, she did not slow down. But I had no idea what all was going on. So I started out across the highway. And she hit me broadsided. And I mean, when she hit me, she drove me across 4 lanes of traffic. And my little old Chevy Love truck, which is what I was driving, I mean, it drove it all the way across 4 lanes. And when it finally stopped turning, that little thing had been just about caved in completely. And it is an absolute, miracle that I wasn't killed. Because a little old Chevy Love standing up against, a car, that big, doing that fast. I mean, she's doing over 100 miles an hour, hitting you broadside. The chance of you living through that is slim and none, as they'd say. But anyway, when she hit me, she drove me, across into the far lane. And they was able to finally shut everything down, where they could get out there. The state police was right in behind her, so they could get out there and kind of begin to clear things up and clear things out. But this woman, after she hit me, she left her vehicle and was on foot running. Like I said, she was in a stolen vehicle. And I mean, I was just about killed. That's as close, I think, I've ever come in my life to being killed. And it was just wild. I mean, I was just completely out of it. Oh, like I said, it drove me across 4 lanes of Government Boulevard, and the boulevard was about the same size of a 4-lane interstate. When the police arrived, the distance of the Grand Prix skid marks showed that she hit my car. She was doing about 70 miles an hour. And I'm in the Chevy Love, and she's doing 70 miles an hour. It is a miracle that I didn't get killed. And I look back to this day, and it is absolutely a miracle. But I'm telling you what, the beautiful thing about the Lord Jesus Christ is that He is with you wherever you are. And I'm in a situation, life and death situation here, and He is with me. And thank God for it, that He is with us everywhere we go. And if He hadn't built some kind of wall or something to block this situation enough for it not to kill me, I wouldn't even be here now. And I mean, I thank God for it. And like I said, it hit my Chevrolet there. The damage to the Chevy Love, my left shoulder right here caved in the driver's side door. I mean, that impact was so powerful that it caused me to cave in the left side, the left door, the driver's side door. I mean, it just, boom, brought my shoulder in there like that, and I hit the door, caved the door in. And it is a miracle, and looking back even today, that I was even able to walk away from that. Because you talk about a shoulder right here, an arm being brought into to the left door, or the driver's side door, of this vehicle that hit me. And my shoulder and it come together, metal to flesh. And like it's a miracle to this day, that I lived through it. But whenever the state police got there and they looked me over and so forth, they said, "Mr. Haynes, you need to go to the hospital." And I'm telling you what, I wasn't arguing with him. But I said, let me get home and let my wife know, what all's going on. So, we didn't have cell phones back in them days. Not back in them days, didn't many people have cell phones at all. And I said, let me get home. And I was surprised that the Chevy Love would even run, even crank, and so forth and so on. But anyway, he told me to go ahead on then, and he'd take care of the situation there with the with the lady who just about run all over me and nearly got took out by her. And on my way I got home. Of course, my wife was beside herself. Of course, I was too. What had happened, what in the world was going on, and da 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 da. And what I said was, she said, "We need to get to the hospital. We need to get to the hospital." And I'm telling you what, I didn't say anything different. I said, "Yes, we do. Yes, we do." And so we had, her sister was down there with us during these particular times. So my son, who wasn't but about, good grief, 4 years old, he would stay with her while we would be going, to the hospital to see if we, to get me up again, see what all need to be done to me. And so that's kind of the way we were headed. So we got into we had a Ford car, and I was working for the International Paper Company at the time in Mobile, Alabama. And so we started to the hospital. And I mean, that was one of the strangest things that I believe I've ever had happen to me in my life. As we started to the hospital, the Lord began to speak. And he said, "You can go to the hospital and they will fix you. Or you can go back to the apartment, go back to the apartment we were living in, and I will heal you." And I told my wife what the Lord had just spoken to me. And I'm going to tell you that when you're in this position, just about die, that is a hard decision to make. And you get an opportunity to see just how much you believe the Lord God of Israel. And Lord, it kind of makes you wonder, you got to make sure, am I hearing you or am I hearing something else? So there was a lot of decisions to be made. But that's what he told me. And I told my wife, and she wasn't too happy with it either. She wondered, "Are you sure that's what you heard?" And I kind of was wondering if I'm sure what I heard too. But it's almost like it would repeat itself again. It said, "You can go to the hospital and they will fix you. Or you can go back to the apartment and I will heal you." Well, I knew that the damage, done to this side here, with being hit by the woman down at the intersection, Florinor Lucas, that to get that thing healed, it would take a miracle. It would take a miracle, or it would take months, for medical science to get it fixed. So both of us, finally decided, well, what have we got to lose? You're going to just have to carry the pain a little longer. And so we decided that we would go back to the apartment and let him fix it. So I think we got back home about oh, I'm going to say by around 1 o'clock a.m. And then and we had actually gone to sleep. I don't know how in the world I went to sleep with that much pain around me and everything going on. But we was able to doze off, and about 2 in the morning, we woke up, and there was angels in the room. And one angel, said to the other angel, said, "He's waking up." Talking about me. He's waking up. Are you through? Because see, we had decided to come back to the room, to the apartment, and let them do it. He said, "He's waking up. Are you through?" And the angel said, "Just about." And about that time, all of a sudden, he had completed it. And we began, we wanted to look up, but it's like we were hesitant to look up, as they say. So the angels, when they left the room, then I felt safe enough, to go ahead and look and see what all was going on, with my body at this time. And so my wife and I both, opened our eyes and began to look around. And I'm telling you the truth, got out of the bed, and it was like I had never even been in a wreck. I went into the bathroom, and all the red and the blood marks and everything was gone away. I couldn't even believe it myself. And we both went in there and looked in the mirrors and looked at each other, and my wife said, "Dallas, I can't believe it." I said, "I cannot believe this." Because she was looking at me face to face, flesh to flesh. She wasn't looking at a mirror and then looking back, at me kind of a thing. And I'm telling you, it beat all I had ever seen in my life. Of course, I had to look at mirrors and she'd look at me face to face. But it was absolutely a miracle. And what I didn't say is that the angels left. Before I got up, I didn't move until the angels were ready to leave. And let me turn on over here. But what it left behind for me too was this. Let me read this. The Lord allows me to open my eyes after their backs, about the angels, were toward me. In the angel portrait. And these angels that were in our apartment, this is what they looked like. These angels were 7 foot tall. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the angels you'll ever see are 7 foot tall. But these angels' strength was necessary to correct all these problems, that had been developed in my body. And to, pull all these hurt lines and this and that and so forth and so on out, so I could be healed again. So they were not your normal angels. They were 7 foot tall, white gowns, which is kind of what we always expect to see with angels. They had no wings. These didn't. I'm not saying that the angels that you would see would not have wings. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying this particular ones did not have wings. And they had a 270-pound frame, like I said, 275-pound frame, and they were 7 foot tall. Now that is big. They're 7 foot tall, 270-pound frame. That's big. But I tell you, God has these kind of angels in His kingdom. And I don't think we realize this. I think we just see little pictures of angels here, little pictures of angels here, little Christmas angels here, you know, and da 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 da, and never realize or never try to find out from the Lord what do they look like. Now I'm going to sit here and tell you He's going to tell everybody on planet Earth what His angels look like. But I'll tell you one thing. They're going to put a whipping on Lucifer if they have to. I can promise you that. With that big of angels. And you know good and well that God has strengthened these angels beyond any human strength on the planet Earth. I mean, they could come up there and just tear a human apart or an animal apart or whatever need to be done. 7 feet, tall, 270-foot-pound frame. And as an engineer, I was gathering all of this in, while I'm sitting there looking. So it's not something that I dreamed up. It's something I come up with running this analysis through in the engineering world and coming back to you. So anyway, I was completely healed. You know what the angel told me? You can go to the house, and get some rest, or you can let me do it, and I will completely heal you. You can go to the hospital, and they can fix you, or you can go back to the apartment, and I will heal you. So I am glad we made the decision that we would go back to the apartment, and we did, and I was completely healed. But He sent it. I'm gonna say He sent His big guys and His major army to come around to visit with me to get me fixed back up. Because that size angels are big, big angels. And I actually got up and went to work the next day, which surprised me, quite truthfully. Got up and went to work the next day. And like I said, I was just been in Mobile, Alabama for a short while, me and my family both. But the old mill in Bastrop, Louisiana had shut down, and my next job offer from International Paper Company was in Mobile, Alabama. And in order to keep everything that I had going with International Paper, I had to go to Mobile, Alabama. But I'm also getting a lot of spiritual things that God is beginning to develop in me, even through the transfer when I went to Mobile, Alabama. I found out that down there, that part of the world, that God is king. There is a lot of strong Christian people down there. They're not all up here in Louisiana, up here in North Louisiana. Some of them down there right on the coast. So don't ever forget that. So I got up and went to work the next day. And so I was oh man, glad to kind of get that thing all healed together. I want to go on a little bit and look at some other things here. You ever have to deal with an embittered spirit? An embittered spirit. Think about that. You ever had to deal with an embittered spirit? The crushing, the crushing of a love for Christ. Now, I was saved at the age of 12 at Macedonia Baptist Church in a Macedonia community, which is out from Kilburn, Louisiana. Not a very big place, guarantee you that. And what got interesting is every time I'd go to church, it was like the Lord, when He would give the invitation, it was like the Lord was pulling me to the front of the church. And I had no idea what was going on, that it was the Lord doing this. I just thought there was something wrong with me. And so I finally, my mother and my dad, didn't go to church. But my next door neighbors, the Pullens, they did go to church. And so Miss Doris Pullen, she had, put it in, let her mother, wanted to know if mother would allow her and her husband to carry me to church. And mother said, well, sure, go ahead. And so I had gone about 4 times. And this is about the 5th time, and all of a sudden I noticed that it began to just, when he'd give the invitation, like something was just pulling on me, trying to pull me down the aisle of the church, you know, whenever he would give the invitation. And so I didn't know what to do. And finally I asked Miss Darce, I said, Miss Darce, you know, every time he gives this invitation, it's like something is just absolutely trying to pull me down to the front of the church. And and so anyway, I finally, after a long time, she finally just come to me and said, they called me Junior since I was, you know, a junior. He said, Junior, said, the next time you get that feeling, just say something to me, and I'd like to walk down to the, you know, to the front of the church with you. And the next time I went, you know, to Macedonia out there, it started hitting me again. So I said, Miss Darce, you know, I need to go down to the front of the church. He said, well, just go on down there. And I did. And I got saved at that ripe old age right there. And I'm telling you the truth. When I walked that aisle, I mean, it was something. Now, we lived in Oak Grove, Louisiana in 1974. I was trying to get my life together, you know, with the Lord. My wife and my son Chris, he's 2 years old, and I were going to St. Joseph, Louisiana, with my wife's mother and dad. And so we were on the way down there, and George's company had a large camp on Lake St. John, which was the Mississippi River in 1946. I was born in a tin levee camp, you know, in 1946. Y'all heard that before, but anyway, and that's where I had been, you know, in 1946. It was born again, you know, there. Anyway, going on. That was the same place that had a black angel, you know, I told you that he showed up at the tent that time, and she had laid hands on me and healed me. And that obviously had made a tremendous and powerful impact on my life. Little did I know that I'd been sent here for the greatest final decision of my life. I ain't going to say the greatest final decision of my life, but what I was sent there for, Dallas, will you give your life completely to me? Dallas, will you give your life completely to me? And that's what the angel of the Lord was wanting to find out. Dallas, will you give your life completely and totally to me? And I'm telling you, that's a decision you have got to make, and everybody listening to me, you need to make that decision today or tonight. Give yourself completely to the Lord. Run out of time. Talk to you next week.
Thank you for watching our special edition of Born Dead to Live Again. We trust this message has blessed you. Join us next time for Born Dead to Live Again.